Why can't a player come back from the NFL and play a couple more years? Because I'm telling you, it's going to get to that. I know that sounds insane, but you just have to have the player that needs the money bad enough, and he's going to come back to college, even though that would be an ego shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you need the guy who he needs the money, and you need the players to be university employees, which they're going to be by probably 2026 or 2027. They're just going to be paid straight through the university. So at the end of the day, constitutionally, and Caleb, this is why I love being on with you, is you have such a good knowledge of the Constitution and the government. Tell me how you can have a rule that you can't come back to college and play football. It just doesn't seem American to me. I know it sounds weird to say that, but it doesn't seem American.
Well, the argument would be, even though they'll be employees, the argument would be you're under temp contracts for these. So, and then once that contract is up if they become employees. So that's how they could legally get around this. So think about like a lot of like projects, particularly like in infrastructure and things like that around the country that private companies do. They're temp contracts with employees. It's like, okay, we are hiring you to work on this project for a specific amount of time, and then we don't need you anymore, so you can go. And that's how the NCAA would get around their eligibility rules, is it would be kind of like a temp contract situation. Like you're there for 4 or 5, whatever years, and then you can go. I think the NCAA probably could have won their junior college ruling with Diego Pavia. They still might, by the way. That's still going through the courts as of right now. Diego Pavia has just won. I don't think they're fighting it as hard. There's a fair argument that with the junior college situation, and you've covered junior college, Dave, that like you're so easily falling through the cracks that it shouldn't really count towards any sort of eligibility. So Diego Pavia is not making an argument against eligibility. He's just making an argument about junior college counting against eligibility. Andrej Karic's situation is he wants a medical redshirt because one of the years he played, he suffered a season-ending injury 5 plays into his 5th game. So technically he exceeded the 4-game limit for the redshirt. And he would say,
so given that, I think he's got a better argument than Pavia.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, I just think it's like, I think it's perfectly reasonable to look at what Karic did and say, you can't exercise some discretion in NCAA and say 5 plays in. Like, you can't exercise.
You remember the kicker for Florida that got 7 years?
Jeff Chandler? Was that his name?
How in the world did that ever happen?
I don't even remember. Daniel Cobb from Auburn got a 6 year of eligibility too. I remember 1 year, but
I don't think I've ever heard of a 7.
Yeah, I remember his, but which is funny because had Florida used Jeff Chandler in 1998, they probably at least get to a second overtime against Tennessee instead of
Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank. You will have a guy that will stay at the college level for a decade at some point playing football. Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions.
Caleb, I saw you roll your eyes. Did you not like my last assertion?
I don't think that's going to happen. Somebody is going to sue and try that, but I think once all this gets sorted out, the NCAA will able to make the case that you're technically under temp contracts. And if they become like university employees, it's kind of like a third-party contract, basically, at that point. And so I think that that's not technically an antitrust violation. Diego Pavia is arguing an antitrust violation because he's saying that the NCAA's junior college rules against your eligibility violated his ability to maximize his profit value. I still largely side actually with the NCAA in that one because they can make the argument that without that junior college, you wouldn't have made it to Vanderbilt or to get the money anyway. So they could probably make that case. So I'm not so sure that's necessarily an antitrust violation specifically, but we'll see with that one. Eligibility is, I'm pretty sure, like almost certainly not an antitrust violation.
You're going to have, though, you're going to have a situation where somebody does challenge it. And how much faith do you have in the NCAA to hold up their end of the legal deal? I mean, it's almost like you're arguing for the right thing, but your boxer has a glass jaw.
I mean, that's probably true. The NCAA has, and they've lost case after case. This will be sorted out because we already see the breakaways happening, and we already see, like, look, Congress is already getting involved. There's going to be some sort of legislation passed to make, and then something where these universities become university employees. And I know people keep saying, here's the thing that people don't understand. They don't want Congress to get involved. But guys, Congress is already involved. The whole reason NIL exists is because of a law passed by Congress. So you can't say Congress can't get involved when it's like people are relying on laws passed by Congress to do this.
You're going to have a union to rep these kids. And I know a lot of people are anti-union, but this is not the typical union that's fighting for. We had a joke at the News Sentinel that because of their union, you could walk in there and shoot a person, and 5 people would have to see it for you to get fired. So that was not 1 or 2 or 3, but that was a situation where the union was fighting for jobs for people that didn't work very hard. I don't think that's going to be the case with football.
Well, with something like the NCAA, where there's no competition, like, you have to have a union in that situation, because it's not like the players can go play for another organization. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of stuck under this. So yeah, they have to be unionized. This is the problem with WWE. I mean, like, the wrestlers there, it's almost, to me, illegal that they're not unionized, because it's not like they can go wrestle for another organization. I mean,
well, you could. They don't have that Nitro and all that stuff.
That was WCW back in. You could have made the argument back in the day when there were all these regional promotions. WWE is the only game in town now. So there's no real competitor to WWE. So because there's no real competitor, it should almost be required that they're unionized legally. Otherwise, to me, it's an antitrust violation on its own. That's going to be the NCAA. Like, they almost legally have to be unionized if they become employees. So, it's going to be interesting how this all plays out. I know the new administration, as they have exempted Title IX from that, which is going to help the players unionize a little bit more. David Speak says, when are they going to decide if they're going to take the college part out of it? Well, here's what's going to happen is they're going to sell you will play for the college, and the college sells the naming rights. The college sells the naming rights, and then they get a deal that because you're wearing the naming rights jersey, you can go to class. That's how this is going to work.
I don't think they're going to be going to class in 3 years, guys.
Oh, you won't have to go to class, but you have the right. Colleges they'll hold a scholarship for you if you want to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They'll hold a scholarship if you choose to go to class, but if you choose not to go to class, yeah, you're just a university employee, but they'll hold a scholarship for you if you choose to. And basically, the jersey you're wearing, the school is selling the naming rights to the team at that point.
I want to be real clear. Adam's comment. So you think it's legal to force people to join a union to gain employment? No, I don't. I wouldn't go that route. At the News Sentinel, I wasn't technically a member of the union, but they did have to represent me if something came up. So it's kind of like a hollow, I don't know, sort of thing. I just
yeah, what I'm saying is, most of the time, Adam, like, if there's no competitor in town, there will be antitrust lawsuits, and the only thing that can help you get out of that is if you're unionized. Basically the argument is, so the NFL, like, has to have a players association at this point, because there's no competition. So you can't go to, like, the only way to get fair employment and to get, a fair shake from the NFL owners is if they're unionized, because where are you going to go? What sports are you going to play for in competition? USFL? I mean, so there's no competitor to the NFL. There's no competitor. The what?
American, All-American, football league.
That one that Steve Spurrier coached in. That's right. Yes. Yeah. There's no competitor in the NCAA. Now, you guys find a competitor, then you can make the case. But if they're going to become university employees, they're almost going to have. If they're going to be employees, they're almost going to have to be unionized, or the NCAA is going to be an antitrust violation again. So, I mean, that's just going to be how it works out.
Okay. Eric, I think this is an outlier. Tell me how the union's faring today. It's set up for failure.
I'm not here to debate how people's thoughts are with unions. I'm saying the union is the only way around the NCAA not being in blatant violation of antitrust laws.